So for cosine law, we need either side, 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 or side, angle, side. So example 5 here is a case where we have side, side, side. We've been given 9 centimeters, 8 centimeters, and 5 centimeters side length, no angles, and we need to solve this triangle, which means we need to solve for the 3 angles. So to solve for the 3 angles, we're going to use the cosine law. It's because if we try to use a side opposite angle pairing, we don't have any pairs here because we have no angles, so we can't pair them to any of the sides. So when we set up the cosine law, we just have to remember that the angle, the side length, and the angle opposite are going to be in these 2 positions. Okay, so if it's a squared, that needs to be angle A in the cosine expression. So I'm going to put in these values. Okay, so we have a squared, or 5 squared, is equal to b squared plus c squared. Now it doesn't matter which is a and b and c, minus 2 times a times b, and then we're going to end up with the cosine a expression. And that's the only thing that's unknown in here is a cosine a. So we're going to solve for that. So we're going to end up with cosine a on one side of the equation. And rearranging this equation, we're going to end up with 5 squared minus 8 squared minus 9 squared all over 2 times 8 times 9. If you're putting this in your calculator, just make sure that you put the denominator in brackets. Okay, otherwise we'll get values which are not, that will be incorrect. So the cosine A value, when we solve for that, we end up with 8.33 repeating. So I'm just going to write that as 0.833. And then when we undo the cosine, so I'm going to put in the 0.833. I'm going to get an angle of 33.56. So I'm going to get 33.56 as my angle. Okay, so once I find that angle, I'm just going to put that into my diagram. 33.56. Okay, then I'm going to solve for another angle. In this case, I'm going to solve for angle B. So we'll do 9 squared is equal to 8 squared plus 5 squared. So I'm going to solve for this angle here, B, minus 2 times 8 times 5 and cosine of angle B. Okay, so there's my cosine expression. I'm going to then solve for the cosine B. Cosine B is going to be 9 squared minus 8 squared minus 5 squared, all divided by negative 2 times 8 times 5. Typing that all into my calculator. Okay, and I'm going to end up with, looks like 0.1. Okay, so cosine B is equal to 0.100. So I'm going to undo that to get the angle B. Okay, so then that's going to be equal to 84.26 degrees. Okay, so this angle ends up being 84.26 0.26 degrees, and then solving for that third angle, I've solved for this triangle. So minus 33.56 minus 84.26, and I get 62.18 degrees. Okay, so that's going to be 26 there. Just cleaning that up. 26 degrees and 62.18 degrees. So I've solved for that triangle, solved for all three sides of that triangle.